Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of Council of November 20th, it being 7 o'clock. Yes, on the dot. First turn to Councillor Toth for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you very much. The District of Sechelt is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Sechelt Nation. We respect the histories, language, and culture of the people of the Sechelt Nation, whose presence continues to enrich this community.
Thank you. Okay, Council, call the meeting to order. Any concerns or conflicts? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt. Seconded, all in favor? Adopted. Oh, I beg your pardon. We have Councillor McLaughlin online. Thank you. Okay, then we'll go to item 4.1, which is the Restorative Justice Week and proclamation. I understand, Ms. Schmerler, you'd like to talk to us, but first let me just officially declare November 17th to 23rd to be Restorative Justice Week in the District of Sechelt. So, great. Yep.
Here I go. Have I done that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
good.
well, I was here last year and I'm so happy to be back again this year. So again, my name is Donna Schmerler. I passed out a little bit of information for you. I was the president of the board last year, but I come to you today as the program coordinator. And I brought along with me the current president of our board, Ian Cochran. First off, I just want to thank you all for your generous and ongoing support of our program over the last 20 years. 20 years, can you believe it? We are going to be celebrating that next spring, I guess, that we've been 20 years on the Sunshine Coast. Not only do you give us ongoing funding in nice 3-year packages, which I really like, but you also give us the use of that beautiful space at Rockwood Lodge and free use of all of the District of Sechelt facilities for our programs and gatherings and circles. And yeah, so just from the bottom of my heart, thank you very, very much. I think you're one of our biggest supporters that we have, certainly within the Sunshine Coast municipality. So I am here to invite you to a few things because it is Restorative Justice Week. So the first thing is that little handout I gave you. We're very excited to have tomorrow night to have Christiane Perez, who's the executive director of the Provincial Association for Restorative Justice. And she's coming to speak to us at the Sechelt Arts Center. It's a beautiful circle room. We're all about circles at Restorative Justice. So it's a big circle room. We're going to be sitting in circle and she's going to be talking about issues around racism and restorative justice, both issues around racism within restorative justice and also understanding racism and how restorative processes can help heal those harms that are caused by racism. It's going to be a really great group of people and a really interesting talk, so I invite all of you to attend. Then on Saturday, if you're wandering around Trail Bay Mall, we're going to have our usual table there with information, and you can come and chat with us. And that's been actually quite popular over the years too with the Sechelt community, so you're invited to that. And then on Monday, November 25th, we're holding a public event. So the whole community is invited, and we're going to be doing, sponsoring a blanket exercise that Nancy and John Denham are going to be running. And again, I don't know how many of you have already done that, but if you haven't, I would really encourage you to come and give it a try. And even if you've done it once, I've gone 4 times, so you know I always learn new things. Oh, that's going to be at the Seaside Center. Again, thanks to the free use of that District of Sechelt building. Also, the following week, Thursday, November the 28th, is our annual general meeting, which is also going to be at the Seaside Center. And you are cordially invited to come to that as well. That starts at 7. We're having a little schmooze and networking nibblies from 6:30 to 7, and then we're going to get down to business for 40 minutes of AGM stuff. And then we're having Jesus Calvin Cragen and Diane Marshall talk to us about reflections on restorative justice and reconciliation. Over the last couple of years, they've been teaming up and offering dialogue circles on that topic during CIA days and at other times during the year. And, well, they're hilarious together. If you've ever heard Haywood speak, he's fantastic. And together they're, yeah, it'll be great. So I want to invite you to that as well. I have a lot to say about what we're doing in restorative justice, and I'm wondering if I could get an invite to like a subcommittee or where I could have more time to talk with people. I'm thinking, I don't know what all your subcommittees are, all your working groups, but something around maybe community safety or community building or something like that. Yeah, because I have a lot of exciting things I want to tell you about what we're doing, and also just to have some dialogue with everybody about that. I was so sad because I came late to the community dialogue on crime, addressing crime issues, or I forget what it was. Anyway, I was out there. You came out and talked to us. There was about, I don't know, 8 or 10 of us standing outside, kind of chatting. We had our own little meeting outside, but anyway, I think restorative justice has a few perspectives to share on how we might be able to help initiatives around crime prevention or addressing harm, because that's what we're all about, is identifying and addressing harms and trying to repair them. I'm almost done. I think I just wanted to point out that really our biggest initiative this year and in past years is I'll call it a triad partnership between restorative justice, CIA reconciliation, and anti-racism working group. And we've gotten partner funding to do projects, and we are going to continue to work together. Even though we're separate organizations, we're partnering, we're allies, we're cousins, and we want to look at all the different ways that we can come together and support the community in all its issues. I think that's it. I'm open to any questions also. I did this last year, and I don't know, we went way over time, but yeah.
Great, thank you. First of all, I'd suggest if you want to talk to us in more detail, maybe you could come to a committee of the whole as a delegation. That would be one forum.
Okay.
And perhaps you could reach out to our executive assistant, and she could perhaps give you some guidance on possibilities. Council, questions? And Councillor Bell, who is our new chair of our safety committee. You should talk to her too.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you. Actually, you're on my list to have you to come to community safety meeting. And we're working through some process right now in terms of, what our structure, et cetera, will be. But I would absolutely see you as having an important role around the table. So,
All right.
thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Yeah, please, Councillor Rowe.
Hi, thanks for coming out. Maybe I missed it, but what time is the blanket exercise on the 25th?
Yeah, good point. 5:30 to 8:30 at
Okay.
the Seaside Center. And we're going to have tea and pizza.
And do you have to is there pre-registration?
If you just let me know, that'd be fine. There is, and it's getting complicated with our website and everything. So yeah, if you just let me know, I'd be so happy if you could come.
Okay, thanks.
Great.
All right.
Anything else? Councillor Inkster.
You. It's interesting you say that you've been around for 20 years because I forget what the wording was, and I was just trying to think of it, the wording that it was utilized in the 80s and 90s the terminology to, in a sense, deflect. I forgot the other term that was used. I'm trying to think of it, to deflect and or, it was a circle then too, and it was to have people not go the traditional way of punishment, let's call it, right? And I was part of that group then. It's interesting, it's much like cops, where people think that we need to create a new cops group, and there was one many years ago here. So this is a similar one where we did have one in the 90s, and then it disappeared, and then your group came along, but I forget what it's called. And I was part of that group with a number of others, including First Nations. And it disappeared. It was actually funded by, I think, the province at the time, 20 hours a week for the coordinator, who was actually the partner of our director of finance at the time. So maybe.
Was that Suzanne?
I don't know if you have a last name, but it was.
She worked out at the RCMP station.
Oh, okay. Suzanne, no, I'm
No,
not sure.
anyway.
Sam Weller's wife
Okay.
was,
Mm.
anyway, so the program did exist a number of years ago, and then I guess it went away for a number of years, and because of my.
So we
criminal
might even be
justice-
more than 20 years of
Yeah.
presence on the Sunshine Coast.
Yes, yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
as you
I guess
say.
incorporated as a nonprofit in 2004.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and with my criminology background, I was part of that group for a number of years, and then you do a silly thing and you run for council, and you're no longer necessarily allowed to be part of those groups as a sitting member.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Counselor Inkster, you might be available next week. Go to their AGM.
Thursday nights doesn't work for me, and everyone does things on Thursday nights, but
Mhm.
I'm certainly interested in some of the other things you're doing, and always have been.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
We have a fantastic newsletter that comes out every month, and our membership is free. We are a charitable status organization, so you can always make charitable donations and get a tax receipt. But in terms of our value of inclusivity, membership is at no cost. You can always become a member, and then you would automatically get our newsletter. Or if you go to our website, everywhere it says subscribe to our newsletter, and that just
Mhm.
outlines all the different activities that we're doing with
Great.
restorative justice on a monthly basis.
Right.
Oh, thank
If-
you so much.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, council, we then go to item 5.1, starting on page 4. And this is the DP for 5750 Anchor Road. Mr. Hall. Good evening. Sorry, I'm anticipating you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. So we have the development permit here for 5750 Anchor Road that council saw previously. Since that time, staff have been trying to work with the applicant on kind of resolving the outstanding issues around the elevator and the stairway. So what we have before you is the development permit that's ready to be approved, subject to council making a decision on one of two options. As the report outlines, we have sort of the staff proposal that takes the recommendation from the APC around covering the staircase, which staff kind of adopted as a good idea for this development, and proposing it as, you know, where an elevator is incorporated into the development, that the staircase would be covered from the ground level up to the elevator area and the entrance of the first or the lowest duplex unit. And then the remainder of the stairway would be uncovered. That would sort of meet the initial objective of providing covered weather-protected access to all units. In the event that there was no elevator, then the stairs would have to be covered all the way to the top. Then the other option would be sort of the applicant's proposal, where they would only cover the immediate area in front of the elevators. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the decision before
Mhm.
council is the development permit's ready to be approved either way. The question is how much of the staircase is covered or not.
Okay, thank you. I think, council, we've had a chance to go through it. Questions to start with? Councilor Inkster.
Thank you. I have a process question. This has come to us twice, and I'm unclear. Is this normal for a disagreement to occur between a proponent and staff? And this is, we've had larger developments in front of us. There could be a number of disagreements within the developments that would then have to come to council for decision. Is this normal then to have this decision come to us? It's come to us twice now. It appears to have not been resolved. Are we going to be making decisions going forward that are appearing to be in contrary to what staff have recommended and what the APC has recommended going forward? Just some clarity on that.
All right, I will volunteer one thing. I think we did come to us once before, but we didn't give a decision. We asked staff to bring it back, so I stand to be, yeah. So we haven't voted on it once and then coming back. But we asked for more information.
Yeah, I understand. It's just, it's coming to us twice, so,
Mhm.
with a similar,
At our request.
yes, with a similar proposal and disagreement thing.
Yep, but I and I guess that's why it's here, for us to make that decision. Mr. Hall, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just in response to the, I would say generally, no, it's not normal to bring a DP back twice. I mean, ideally, we work with the applicant to resolve all the issues, make sure it meets all the guidelines and objectives of the applicable DP areas, draft up the permit, and bring it to council for a decision. And at that point, with the idea that if it meets all the objectives and guidelines, that it's ready for council to approve, and that's it. In this case, we have a disagreement over some issues, so we're having to come back again. But otherwise, normally it would be kind of we go to one council meeting, council makes a decision, and that's it.
So this is unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good. Counselor Shepherd?
You know, I appreciate the EPC's recommendations on it, and also our staff, sorry, through the chair. I think they're trying to recommend the sort of best solution. But in this case, when we are down to how much of a stairwell is covered, I'm actually happy to let the developer's desired design go through. I'm in support of that. I think if it was a more critical design issue, I'd take it, I would certainly weigh in on staff's recommendation, be supportive of it, but I think when we're down at this stage or this level, it seems, it's almost decorative. So I'm happy to actually support the developer's scheme. Thanks.
Meaning,
That would be option one.
okay,
on page
scenario,
4.
scenario
Scenario
one.
one.
Very good, just for clarity.
No,
No,
option one.
oh, down, I see below. Great. Okay, Counselor McLaughlin, I see your hand up. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to get this all figured out, which is good. I'm just wondering, with this project, it is very unique. It is very modern. It does have some features that are unusual, like the stairs. And I just wanted to check with staff to see if they might think we might be able to be looser with the stair issue if we maybe put a section 219 safe harmless the municipality, so that, you know, whatever the uniqueness of this design, that it's not something that we're taking a risk for, but it's something that we can still give to the developer. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got a comment?
I suppose we could consider that option. I think ultimately this will be a small strata development, so the staircase will be a piece of strata infrastructure. So in terms of, you know, obviously council makes a decision on approving the permit, we issue it, but ultimately I think the liability then passes to the developer and ultimately the strata to maintain their own infrastructure, and that will include this staircase. So I think
Very good.
that's enough for us.
Okay, thank you. I had a question. I see in the report, there's a reference to an elevator and also the elevators. Are we talking about one elevator or two, or one per unit, or?
Yeah, what's proposed now is, I guess, a bank of 3 elevators in sort of one system, but basically 3 individual elevators side by side that would access each of the 3 upper units.
Okay.
So yeah, instead of one elevator stopping at each floor, it's 3 separate elevators, but they're basically integrated into one system. But each unit, each of the upper units would have their own elevator.
Thank you. Okay, council, any other questions? We have a recommendation on page 4, but Counselor Shepherd, you seem to have the best grasp. Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that council support option 1 on page 4.
Okay, and seconded, thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, Counselor Todd.
Thank you. I've been kind of struggling with this in that we've got a lot of uniquely challenged properties in the area on the coast that don't have covered walkways, leading anywhere, from the parking to the house or anything like that. So on the one hand, I can totally see the appeal of, like, we don't really need the covered areas, you know, get them anywhere else on the coast. But on the other hand, I feel like it's a sort of minimum viable product to, you know, cover up to the elevator. I think that's a huge value add for the cost of the units, the complexity of the units. So I won't be supporting the motion that's on the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? I guess I'd respond that if it's down the road, if they need to add cover, Strata can do it. That would be my reaction, but anyways, okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is defeated. Okay, council, so then Councillor Toff.
Thank you. I think our staff have come forward with a perfectly good middle of the road option, so I'm going to move the recommendation as presented on page 4.
And that was the second, Councillor Rowe? Okay. Discussion? Okay, I'm struggling with this. But, okay, that's a motion before us, so, call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Councillor McLaughlin, I didn't see.
Sorry, I was in favor.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Okay. Okay, the motion carries. All right. So with that, we move to item 7.1. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Palmer, at this point, because the council had made a decision, so that decision stands. Well, okay, I think. Yeah, Mr. Palmer, as I need to, this is not the forum for that conversation. Council has taken the report before us, considered it, and made a motion. So you would need to consult your professionals to decide on how you wish to proceed. Okay. Okay, the motion is to that your DP be approved with the staircase covered up to and including the elevator. Understood. So and sir, sorry, I can't entertain a discussion on this at this point. It's not appropriate for this meeting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How about we? Okay. Yeah. Understood. And so the decision has been made for now. I think the best thing is you could have a discussion perhaps with our CAO or his staff tomorrow and decide on a course of action. That would be based on the conversation that you have with staff. I'm sorry, that's in terms of what we have the authority to act on, that's the process that we have to follow tonight. So, well, we do, and we have used that authority. So anyways, I'm sorry, we need to move on because it's, it wouldn't be in order. Mr. Palmer? Yeah. Okay. As I've said, I think we do have to move on right now. If you can stay for the meeting, I'm happy to talk with you after this meeting. But we have a business that we have to attend to. Okay, thank you. Okay, council, we go to item 7.1. And this is the Regional Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Any comments, any concerns? Counselor Toth, I believe you're the rep, but you don't have anything to offer.
Indeed, I was the rep at this point.
Yeah.
I missed this particular meeting, but I'm happy to move receipt of the minutes.
Very good. And endorsement of the one recommendation in our agenda. Sure, that's what you meant to say. Is there a seconder? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Sorry, Counselor McLaughlin, sorry, your hand is up. Were you one?
I'm in favor.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind taking your, thanks, great. Okay, we then go to the minutes, item 7.2 on page 79, the minutes of the APC from November 5th. And, anything, Counselor Toth? Yes, sir.
Thank you. I did attend this meeting. It was a very wholesome discussion, let's say. But one thing I did want to point out is that on page 82, the second to last bullet that says water is a concern. In this particular case, the conversation was actually around stormwater and groundwater management, not water supply, which was a welcome change from some of these conversations in the past. So I just wanted to clarify that one for council.
Is a very, so at the second last bullet point, should read stormwater. Or-
I don't know our process if,
Mm.
because this isn't our committee, we're receiving these, but I
Right.
just wanted to clarify for council.
Very good. That's fairly significant. So, all right, thanks for that. Council, it's before us for receipt. So moved. Very good. Sorry, I guess we'll, I saw a seconder, all in favor? Thank you, Counselor McLaughlin. Now I'm figuring out the code. Very good. Okay, then we can then go to item 7.3. Same APC meeting, page 86. You and I were both here for that, Counselor Toth. Nothing to add. Okay. I'll move receipt. You'll second it. All in favor? Carried. Then we go to SCRD reports. I have both of you, on both sides. Who's going to take this first?
I can speak first. I don't have a ton to say. I'm not sure, if people are aware, but there's a new chair at the SCRD.
Yes, we did announce that.
Yeah.
Meeting, yes.
Yeah, and his name's Alton Toth. He's from East Porpoise Bay. I was wondering, as we proceed here, and I got to talk to Chair Toth about this, and we might, and we'll see if we can do it, is do a director's report at our table and do a chair's report at our table. So we'll see if we can figure that out at our
Do
table.
this in real time.
Yeah, so
Right.
we'll see going forward if we can do a director's report, which is some stuff from me and something from the chair at our meetings. Now that Chair Toth is in that role. I just wanted to mention a couple of things though. The council was sent through some information on water. And it's really important. Water is really important, as we mentioned 5 minutes ago. But I'm just asking council, was the information that was provided to council clear? All of council that they received last week. The report wasn't totally clear to me as to what it was pointing out in terms of leaks and leak detection and the fixing of those leaks, which has led to a lot of saved water and or what could be considered as we move forward and approve units in Sechelt. It's almost like new units of availability to us based on the amount of leaks that we've detected and fixed. So it's just one of the things that's why we keep talking, Councillor Toth and I keep talking about leaks, because it's saving us a lot of water in the in all the time, and especially in the summer months that we need for firefighting hospital and our regular citizens. I just wanted to mention, other than that, because I'll leave the rest of some of that to Chair Toth, is that we did do a contract award for the Chapman Creek Water Treatment Plant of new ultraviolet upgrade, and I'm assuming that upgrade and or replacement, which was in the millions of dollars, was from the original plant. I think it's from the original plant construction, and which is interesting because it's much like other infrastructure, like the pool, the aquatic center, and things like that, that we're going to have to start looking at soon as taxpayers to do some refurbishment. I remember when the plant was open, I think as an elected official in 2001 too. So now they're actually replacing the ultraviolets up there. I think it's their first replacement, but it was very expensive. So it shows that infrastructure needs refresh and it's expensive, but it's an important piece of our water treatment at the treatment center that many people may not know is up Selma Park Road to the left. And budgets are coming up next week. And as was sent out today, there will be an opportunity, a roundtable opportunity for councils to take part in the discussion in early December. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Inkster. Councillor Toth, could you arrange for Chair Toth to talk to us?
I'm sure I can talk to his people and get them down here. So not a whole lot that I wanted to tag on to the director's report, other than the rural areas are going to finally be seeing their updated housing needs report tomorrow morning. In the afternoon, even before we get to budget next week, in the afternoon tomorrow, we've got a 100-page agenda, which is all of the user fees and frontage fees and rate setting that needs to occur before the end of the year for 2025. So, I mean, of everything that's in these 100 pages, the very first item is regional water. And the recommendations from staff at this point are to increase the user fees by 4.9%, just a modest increase. And parcel taxes to be increased by 17.78%. So it averages out to a 9.8% increase. Of course, we still have to have a conversation about that. But that is the recommendations that are being asked for tomorrow. So not a whole lot to report on top of that at this point. I think I'll leave it there. Thanks. It's been a complex week.
I can, yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Then we'll go to councillor reports, and perhaps we'll start with our remote member of council, Councillor McLaughlin, and then we work from my left. Councillor Rowe. This way. Please, Councillor McLaughlin.
Okay, thank you through the chair. Well, I'm sure we all noticed the weather, and I think we fared fairly well. We battened down our hatches, but I have friends in Nanaimo. They said almost all of Nanaimo was out for power. So I guess we're lucky that it was, I think for me, it was a little milder than I expected. But so that's very important, I think, to note because it affects our infrastructure possibly, et cetera. I just wanted to point out that on Inlet Avenue, I noticed some demolition going on at the end there for the Sunshine Coast Community Services Building Together project. And it's good to see that that project is taking place and the demolition's happening, which means soon the actual building will be built. It says that it will create a more safer and accessible community. So I think that's going to be a very big plus for that area and for the downtown community, especially that end. For as many as 35 units of women and children. So I think it couldn't come at a better time. If people want to swing by and see what's going on there, it's really good to see. That's the main thing. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Then Councillor Rowe.
If you come by, don't bring your car. We work right next door, and I take great joy in watching them rip that place apart. I just wish they'd make a mistake and come a little towards the home care building because there's about 14 leaks in the roof right now. Anyways, I agree with Councillor McLaughlin. It's absolutely very exciting to see that project starting. And I think their new temporary site looks great on the corner there. I don't really have anything to report though. So I'm going to pass this week.
Okay. Yeah. Counselor Toth, please.
Thank you. I'll keep it a little shorter. I don't really have anything to report. Although I did attend the airport committee meeting last night for most of it. Really good to see the group working well together. I really wanted to commend Councillor Shepherd on chairing the meeting really well last night. I think they respect you and they appreciate you. And can't wait for us to get some more conversation around that draft airport master plan when it comes to us. And then otherwise, I guess the only other thing I wanted to say was congratulations to our new MLA, who happens to also be the minister for Walrus. So a lot of important issues in that ministry that tie into our community. So fortuitous or something that she's also our MLA. So that's it for me. Thank you.
For those not schooled in jargon, Walrus stands for Water, Lands, and Resource Stewardship. Okay, very good. Thank you. Counselor Inkster.
Thank you. Not a lot to report. The sickness that's going around affecting a lot of people has affected me in other parts of my life and means that I'm doing this and a number of other things seemingly overlapping because of the fact that I'm one of the few people that was not as sick as others. So that means you're covering a lot of different things. I just wanted to, just a quick warning too, my oldest now has his N. Always tell people stay off the sidewalk. And by the way, with that has, wow, you know, when you go through a number of years of going through insurance, safe driving, and then you go to pay for insurance for your child. Wow, yeah, well, we're talking about it. There's some negotiation that has to go on, and yeah, maybe I'll be asking for us to talk about our stipend increase or something, because it's very expensive. Thanks.
Okay, well, don't worry, Logan. Counselor Shepherd, please.
I look forward to hearing that issue being raised, Councillor Inkster. I'm probably repeating myself from an earlier meeting, but November 12th was our quarterly meeting with the community associations. They were really interested in their future involvement in the OCP update, anxiously waiting for that. Each of the community associations are putting up a large public signboard, which is going to help each of the communities, because I know I certainly look to ours for information at times. They're all getting very involved in emergency preparedness, and I think that helps the town as a whole. And finally, West Sechelt more so are sort of involved in community safety, and that concerns obviously the Community Safety Committee, and it's great to see those groups organizing themselves. We also, as Councillor Toth mentioned, the Airport Development Community or Committee received the master plan. So this is the vision for the airport lands for the next 20 years. So there's a lot to think of in terms of not only the air operations and what they see, because there's huge technology changes going to be happening, but also off the airport lands, because there is room for industrial development, and that'll be great for the district. So that's exciting to see and take part in. And I think going forward, the committee really has to take a look at what other stakeholders in the district that we now have to start involving with in that plan. And finally, today was my last meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. And They are very interested in hosting an investment forum and looking for the district's support for that. And I think that that issue, because there's an ask for financial, is coming back to council at some point. They also wanted to start a conversation with all the municipal governments on how to economize. And I'm not phrasing that well because as each of the municipal or government representatives on the chamber mentioned, that happens already. And what I had asked the chair of the chamber to turn the question around and in terms of approach, I think it would be best if they asked, you know, the CAO of each government or the head of planning, what are you doing now? Because governments are looking to economize and reduce expenses. And what is the future in terms of what further steps could be taken? So we'll see if that happens. And also a really interesting talk from Community Futures on the number of businesses in the district and the Sunshine Coast that they fund and the funding model, because they don't offer grants, but they put a lot of work into helping small starting businesses with their business plans. So I found that very helpful. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Councillor Bell?
So on Remembrance Day, Monday, November 11th, ceremonies took place across the coast in Gibson's, Roberts Creek, Sechelt, and Pender Harbor. I was wearing my federal hat on November 11th and had the honor of laying the Government of Canada wreath on behalf of our Member of Parliament, Patrick Weiler. These ceremonies are an important moment for us to pause and remember the sacrifices of our fallen service personnel. On Saturday, November 16th, I attended the opening of the Pender Harbor Ocean Discovery Center, or station known as PODS. Now, although this development is not directly in Sechelt, I want to highlight it, as I think it's going to be a tremendous asset to the Sunshine Coast. It will be a net zero facility and will incorporate Indigenous traditional knowledge, Western science, and local culture, and it will be designed and operated to promote environmental stewardship and celebrate the region's rich biodiversity. It will provide employment, training, volunteer opportunities, and countless opportunities for rich education for all ages, and it will attract tourists from all over. It has been years in the making. But on Saturday, the federal funding, they received federal funding of $13.4 million. And this was announced to help move the project forward. In addition to this, the Sechelt Nation signed a partnership agreement with PODS. And this is one of the first agreements between a nation and a charity. Hopefully, the opening will be in 2027. So I really encourage you to go onto the website and have a look at this incredible development. On Friday, November 15th, and Councillor McLaughlin has talked about this, and Councillor Rowe, I joined the staff and volunteers of the Sunshine Coast Community Services Society for one last picture before construction begins on their new permanent home. As the bulldozer took into the building, it was a moment that marks real progress toward creating 35 units of affordable housing for women and children, along with a new community hub that will benefit everyone. The Building Together project is still raising money for this incredible development, so donations of every kind are still welcome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Bell. Okay, I will just pile on a little bit. I had the honor of representing the district at the Remembrance Day. I agree with Councillor Bell's comments. It's an honor. We've talked about the Community Association Forum, and we often talk about volunteers, and a big shout out to them for their ongoing commitment, and they bring their A game to every meeting. Kind of wish they'd back off a little bit sometimes. Council, of course, we had a public hearing, and I just wanted to emphasize to the public a reminder, please do not bring us new information on a topic that has been the subject of a public hearing. I did have to remind somebody of that at a different event. recently. Sunshine Coast Tourism had a very interesting strategic planning session. I won't out the data that they provided, but I think they'll be releasing information soon. I attended the Community Forest Board meeting, and I'm happy to note that they've had a good year financially. I think it's a bit of good planning, good strategy, and good luck because they were able to sell their products at a higher price than budgeted. It's not that they were harvesting more product. And they were quick to add that 2025 is not looking as positive. I gather they have a myriad of regulations and plans and approvals that have to be acquired over the course of the next year. And there's no real certainty on how fast such approvals will be forthcoming. And then, of course, we had the airport committee meeting last night. Council knows I'm off to Ottawa on Sunday for the Green Municipal Fund Council meetings, and we'll be back late Friday night, following which I've got a number of personal things that I'm going to be working on, so I'll be limited availability to participate in council activities. Big event on December 10th, it just concluded last night. We're having a global media launch organized for the Global EV Alliance. We hope over 1,000 participants will participate in that from around the world. Another time I'll go on for hours about how interesting that group is when you get somebody from Australia and somebody from Austria and South America, and they're all on the same Zoom call and talking about EVs. So I'll leave that, so I'll be generally off for a couple of weeks. And perhaps, not exactly sure what the agenda is, but don't anybody come to the office tomorrow morning because we have an all-staff meeting from 9 to 10. So if you're coming, I guess come in after 10 o'clock, I believe. With that, I'll say that's it. We can move on. We have a report from our corporate officer on item 11.1. This is release of the various council appointments. I think council just for our information. And we'll take them as read. Anybody regretting volunteering? Okay, if not, then unless there's anything else, we'll move to adjournment. Seconded, all in favor? We are adjourned. Very good. Thank you. So questions, folks? Yep. And just, I'm not on Zoom.